the story then is called When the SH1T Hit the Light Switch. You'll obviously, many of you will have heard the SH1T hit the fan. Well, there wasn't a fan in this incident, it was a light switch. And it's all to do with last year, 2023, I had cancer. We still don't know if it's gone yet. I'm still having tests and things, and I'm having another scan next week. And so I got bowel cancer last year, very suddenly, and had to go in. I went to the urgence, accident emergency. It never came out for several weeks anyway. So this is a story a little bit about that happening. Okay, I'm hoping that those of you that have had cancer or got cancer even, then you might find this amusing. I hope. I'm sure a lot of you will have had funny incidents, something you've got to laugh at, despite the fact that it's a bit serious. So this is all to do with the colostomy bag. Now, because I was blocked up there, I had to have a colostomy bag to empty the system before the doctor could, investigate and do anything. It was totally blocked up. So I ended up having a colostomy bag, and after the operation they gave me an individual room, marvellous private room. And I found that also got attached to me was my own personal septic tank. Then, those of you that live in the countryside will know what a septic tank is. If you don't, and you haven't come across a septic tank, well, I'm hoping that you will realise what I'm on about. So it's all to do with living with a colostomy bag. Now, I'm lucky in that my operation was reversible, and it was reversed, and so I don't have a bag anymore, but I did have a bag of 4 to 5 months. And this was the first night in the hospital bed with a colostomy bag. And there are things that you have to learn when you've got a colostomy bag, and that is you have to be careful how you sleep. Anyway, I woke up during the night, and I hadn't been careful enough, and I'd laid on the bag. Well, can you imagine the result of that? Well, it was pretty dire. The bag had burst. Well, it's attached to the bag, has a base thing that's attached to you, and that's glued on and comes off every now and again, and the bag's fastened to that. Well, around the seal, stuff had escaped, and so oh God, what am I going to do? Woke up, it was about 2 o'clock in the morning or something. So I managed to get out of bed, and it's twilight, and I had no light, so my hands were just a little bit dirty at the time. Having investigated what the problem was with my hands, then I realised that really I had to be a little bit careful where I put them. So I got out of bed and I worked my way towards the corner of the room where the shower and toilet and everything else is in the corner, in a little room. And I know just outside the door there was a light switch. So I got my hand on the wall and was feeling around for this light switch, and eventually found it. Popped the light on, which is the light that goes it's in the shower. So I could open the door, and I was exposed to full light. And I'd press. Oh yes, also now in there's where the shower is. There's a pull cord, with a red thing on it. If in case of emergency, pull this cord. So I pulled that, and I started taking my clothes off and slung them on the floor in the shower, and put the shower on to try and get myself a bit cleaner. Then the nurse came, the night nurse. She's a lovely lady, I saw her a lot later that year. Not because I had similar incidents, but she was on nights a lot while I was in hospital from time to time. And so this was the first time she'd had to come to my aid. Oh my goodness, she said, or something like that in French. And by that time I'd got my clothes off, and I'd piled them in the corner, and I was got a shower on to try and get myself cleaned up. And she stripped the bed and went and got some clothes for the bed, and then she came back and dealt with me. Well, she had to take the colostomy bag off, and we cleaned up around it and everything, and she got me a new one and got me fixed up and cleaned up and reattached to my septic tank. And then I sat on the edge of the bed and just relaxed for a bit before trying to go back to sleep. She was ever so good and very understanding. And she didn't give me any aggro at all about lying on my colostomy bag and squeezing everything out of it all over the bed. So you see, that was how the SH1T got on the light switch. And in fact, he stayed on the light switch. The nurse gave it a bit of a cursory wipe with a J-cloth thing on her way out. But when the lady came to clean the room, they'd clean the rooms every day, you know. Nice ladies that do it. I've not seen a man doing it. And I said, oh, I'm ever so sorry about that. Oh, yes, she said, I heard about your incident last night. We've all heard about your incident last night. And they said, well, there's still a bit around the light switch. So she did give the light switch and the wall around it a bit of extra treatment with her, you know, cloths with all the disinfectants and stuff on it, and wriggled it all around the switch itself so that anybody else who came to touch it wasn't in for a shock. So that, I hope that brings a smile, give you something to smile at. I did learn not to lie on the colostomy bag in future. So there we are. You live and learn. You're learning something new every day, aren't you? So I could tell you more about it later, but eventually, yeah, the system got emptied and got treated and whatever. Now, I'll do a bit more about that another time. So in the meantime, if you like what we're doing, then think about giving us a like. That would be very good. And also think about subscribing to the channel, because that does help us a lot, helps the channel to grow, and then the YouTube people know that perhaps we're doing something that you like. Before you go away, also have a look at our website, www.crackerbooks.fr. You can see it on the screen there, where you can find over 10 complete books to download free of charge, including picture story books and books for kiddies. And on Buzzsprout, the link for Buzzsprout is also on the website. You can listen to over 200 audio blogs, all free to download. And then, of course, you're on the YouTube channel now, where there's I don't know how many, 200 or 300 videos on there, a lot of them very entertaining. Thanks for being with us today, and until the next time, cheerio.